So today is October 3rd, 2020. My name is Ann Shi, and I'm interviewing Elaine Tao for the Houston Asian American Archive. And thank you so much for your time, contributing your time in this hectic COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, I know. You're welcome.
So sorry, can you tell us when and where were you born, and maybe share with us some childhood memories and the neighborhood that you were brought up in?
Okay. I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. Um, Childhood memory. I think I was very blessed. I was born in a very large family. My grandmother has 8 kids. One of my grandmother had 8, the other one had 6. So every time we have holidays, usually have a lot of cousins. I'm one out of 23 cousins in one family and one of the 17 the other family. So it's always fun during Chinese New Year that everybody kind of hang out together. We kept a very good relationship. So up until now, they still try to meet each other every 3 months or so, but we call it meeting now because we have a family business that each family had to run. So we call it meeting instead of happy gathering when we were a kid and fighting with each other. So that's one of the things I always love is to playing Chinese checker with my grandmother and then watching my aunts cooking all this wonderful food and play the fireworks with my cousins. It was always fun things to do. And then there's so many holidays, so there's a lot of excuse to eat different things. So that was a lot of fun.
So what kind of food do you usually cook back then?
Well, the traditional Chinese holiday food, like we make nian gao, which is kind of like gluten rice cake. And we can't, like I mentioned, we came from a very big family. So we have this traditional old stove that's actually burning the wood underneath. So you'll see that, people putting the woods in 3 days before just to make sure that it will be heated enough. And then my aunts and what's her name? The lady that worked with us, they literally work like a whole week and make hundreds and hundreds of those rice cake so they can share them out everybody. And that's one of the things I remember. Or anybody that had babies and will make you fan, which is gluten's rice. It's one of my favorite. Even after I came to America, whenever I go home, I make my aunt make it for me just because it's one of my favorite dishes. She has since passed away and nobody can make it right, even including myself, my mom, nobody can make the way that she used to make. And so those are a few things I remember. Of course, there's a lot more because my grandmother spoiled her sons, like including my dad. They'll make this thing called ma you ji, which is sesame oil chicken, and she puts nothing but cooking wine. So, and there's no water in it in that soup. So you're pretty much just drinking alcohol. And when I was a kid, I wasn't appreciated because I just think, oh, it stinks. But after a while, start appreciating after I turned 21. I will go home and then my grandmother makes it, and then she'll try to like bump it up to make it more like alcohol, and then instead of using cooking wine, she'll start putting vodka in there and all that. So it's a lot of fun hanging out with her.
Yeah. Wow. Excellent memories, Miss V.
Yes.
Yeah. How about you have a big family, you said, are they in Houston?
Well, my mother's mom, my grandmother, who's just turned 100 last November, she's still living with my mom and my dad. My mom's side, most of them are in the United States. So I had an uncle that lived in Sugar Land who passed away about 7 years ago. And I have another uncle that used to live here, but he moved out to California. So I have a whole bunch of my mom's side family. There's like 4 or 5 of her brothers and sister. They all live in the United States. So we, on this side, ever since I got older, we actually use Thanksgiving as an excuse and make everybody come home. And because my grandmother's birthday is around that time, so I will make all my cousins say, everybody make one dish. Her favorite thing is to watch all of us screaming up and down in the kitchen and make food for her. And then every year we try to top one another to see who has the best food and who has the most creativity. And so that was a lot of fun.
I see. So remember you wrote down that you moved to the US when you were 13 years old. So before
Yes.
13, you were like went to elementary school in Taiwan?
Correct. I had all my elementary school in Taiwan, 1 year of middle school, and then I came over here starting 7th grade. So,
Okay. What were your favorite subjects back then?
I think my favorite was history.
Right.
That was the only textbook I actually read from cover to cover, and I always think it's fascinating how people interact with one another, how the leaders change life in other people's lives. So that was one thing I actually literally read the textbook. So
yeah. So was the music a big thing in your life back then?
music was always part of my life. I think that's one of the things my mom doesn't want any of the children in the house. So I played the piano. My brother plays the violin, and my other sister plays pretty much all the instruments. So what that means is that after school, we're either practicing with the band or we're actually going to private lessons. So we normally are not home. And I think that was a tactic my mom tried to do so nobody is bugging her. So music has been in my life ever since I was 7. I went to, in fact, when I was in Taiwan in middle school, I was actually in the conservatory for 1 year. The biggest thing that music had done for me is when I came to United States, not knowing English well, and that was one of the thing that actually I know that will always be there for me. So I practice a lot. I remember first time I have self-confidence was also from music, because when I was, I think 9th grade. Yeah, 9th grade, I went to a talent show. I brought my erhu and played it for them. No one ever seen the instrument before. And then I was like, wait, I can do more. So I also played the piano. So the choir teacher loved me so much that she immediately insists I had to be in choir so I can accompany all the choir peoples and stuff like that. And that's somehow I got myself into music minor when I was in U of H. So I think music played a very, very, very big part of my life.
I see. So going back to when you were 13, why did you move to Houston?
My parents, well, the whole family moved to United States. So I think my dad, ever since I was a kid, he always believed that U.S., you know how people say that the other side of the grass is always greener? And I think that's what he believed in. So he moved the whole family to United States. So I still remember it was 1982, July 2nd, the day after I finished my middle school year. My dad said that was the last day we need to come into United States with the green card validation. So we had to move everybody in that day. So that's always a day that I also remember.
So did you speak English back then?
Not enough. Probably no apple, banana, how are you? That's about it. So.
Right. So how was it like adjusting to the life in the US?
That was difficult. I think a lot of things had changed because when I was in Taiwan, I always consider myself as princess because I don't have to do any chores. I can do whatever I want. I had the luxury of learning a lot of stuff, whether music, sports, arts, dance, what have you. So when I came over here, it was a culture shock to me because my dad said, we don't have money for any of this anymore. You had to pick the one you like. So of course, he doesn't want anybody to give up music, so everybody still continue playing music. But we had lost the chance to learn and all the other stuff that we enjoy. Also, my dad also had mentioned that if you don't study hard, then you're not going to survive. That was things that he never mentioned to us before, because I always think that I don't need to do well in school and I can live luxuriously. So because I just feel like my family was comfortable enough, I don't have to do anything and I can be princess all my life. So coming to United States was a big difference. It was difficult to adjust. I think the most difficult time in my life is probably between high school to college, because that's when I realized, ooh, my parents doesn't speak English well, and I had to start picking up a lot of chores in the family, like communicating with telephone company and try to figure out insurance and all that stuff. So it was a tough things to go through.
Mm. Do you have any siblings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the oldest in the family, but I have one brother and one sister.
Right. Do they help out with the chore at the beginning of the move?
No, nope, I don't think they ever did. And that had made a big difference for me, because I always assuming I'm the big sister, so I have to take care of the whole family. When I gone through high school, I skip a year in high school so I can kind of pursue my career faster. I realized that was a mistake, so I told my brothers and sister not to do that. And then I make sure my brother and sister, when they're in college, they can get some kind of internship, and that kind of help with their career a little better. So I do a lot of stuff for them, and I always just thought that that's what I need to do. I don't remember if they help out at all. I don't think they ever did, because I know my brother doesn't, up till today, he still doesn't know how to buy a plane ticket. So I'm pretty sure he didn't do anything.
Well, you spoiled him then.
Yeah, I think so. Big mistake.
How did you choose music for your major at U of H?
I literally did not choose my major. I think, like I mentioned, when I was in high school, had a wonderful choir teacher, Miss Ness. She had realized that my English was very limited. She has forced me to always talk to the choir members and all that. She had forced me, she actually gave me 2 choir classes instead of 1 every year, because I need to practice a lot to play with all the choir team. So she's the one actually helped me decide to become a music major, because she probably figured that there's nothing that I'm better at, because my SAT wasn't that hard and all that stuff. So I had a chance. I think I got into Baylor and also got into U of H. And it was a simple decision to go to U of H, because I had a boyfriend that went to U of H. So I ended up in U of H. So.
And you received a scholarship for that degree, right?
Yes, I had the scholarship, but then 2 years down the road, I realized that I don't think I can do much with music. So I ended up with a business major.
Mm. And who were like a mentor figure that you mentioned? There's this music teacher. Is there anyone else that really influenced your decisions?
No, I think there's a lot of people in my life. I have a lot of friends in high school, and they always say, oh, she's the one that plays the piano well. And I just assume that's the only thing I know what to do. And my dad also, I think he's a big influence, because there are many times in my life I want to quit piano. He won't let me. I think I threw books at him. I threw a lot of things at him. I said, you're not dictating my life. But he insisted. I'm glad he insisted that I had to go through. So I went through, and I ended up in college with all that. And he said, see, I told you so, and that kind of stuff. But if it weren't for him, I don't think I would learn what I have today. So I think he's also a big influence in my life.
Has he insisted on you playing erhu as well, or just the piano?
No, I actually, when I was in elementary school, I was in the Chinese orchestra group. And I actually played the zhonghu, which is almost like a viola instead of a violin in Chinese instrument. Erhu is almost like a violin. But my brother plays the erhu very well. So he was always the concert master for the group and all that. And so when I came to United States, I want to do that instead of the viola. So I play erhu just for fun. It's not that hard. It's only 2 strings. So you kind of figure out the notes and just play along with it. So no, he doesn't have a lot of influence in that. I think my mom is the one that actually kind of want us to explore different instruments. So when I was in middle school, I actually played pipa. So my mom plays the guzheng. So we all play different instruments. And since we actually officially moved from Taiwan to United States, so we had a huge container with nothing in it. So my mom literally went and bought every single instrument she can think of and moved everything over here. So we had a lot of time to play around with it.
So trying to play like erhu, guzheng, pipa, which are more like traditional Chinese instruments, is there an emphasis on traditional values in your family?
I think as a family as a whole, because we have such big family, the tradition was always in there. I think to respect the elderlies, to appreciate what we have hands down and all that stuff is always in my family. A very special thing I always tell people, and they're always shocked when they see, when I tell them the what we do in the family is that, you know how the big family, they usually have round tables, everybody sit down and eat. We have a tradition that whenever that dinner is served, my grandmother and all the uncles, which the man, the head of the household, they will all sit together the first round to eat. And then the second round is all the kids will all sit on the same table after the elderly leave. The kids will sit together and leave. And the last group of people eat will be the wives, like my mom and all the women that sits there and eat. So that was our tradition. And when I was a kid, I was like, this is not fair. This is not what it should be. Women should have better right. We should sit right next to husband and eat and all that. It's not until I got older and I realized that was the best way to do it, because you respect the elderly, and then you can clean up after everybody eats. So if you actually sit there, eat with them, and the kid's not taken care of, it's difficult. So there are always things that my grandmother always tell me, that there are ways to do things, and there are ways to do things better. And that's what I always try to follow. So sometimes tradition is not bad. Tradition is something that you follow, that you kind of have to see the logic in it. So I do appreciate how my big family had teach me to do things the right way. So
I see. What other traditions that your big family would follow besides this one?
I'm trying to think. I think the woman always have to learn how to cook. I also think that's not fair before. But then I think it was a luxury by the time we came to United States. Since we have always all this wonderful food, when we came to United States, when I crave for it, I don't know how to make it. They didn't have Google before. They didn't have YouTube before. So we kind of like, because my mom had learned it from my grandmothers, and then so she was able to teach us to do it. I remember one year, when I was in high school, we were so cold. My dad said, this is perfect time to make Chinese sausages. We made it so good. When my grandpa came to United States and was so impressed, he actually bought a sausage stuffer for us. He carried our oil from Taiwan to give it to us. And up to today, I still make fun of my dad. I said, you know, you only made it one time in your life, and I don't even know where the machine is. It would be nice if we make it again. And he always teases us, okay, the minute I found the machine, we'll make it again, that kind of things. And what other tradition we have is we always feel like that family's blood is always thicker, and we always get together a lot. Like even up to today, I probably go see my parents. They don't live far from me. I see them at least twice a week. And then my brother lives in Cyprus, so he'll come down to see us at least once a week. So we're very close together. So
great. So how was your circle of friends at the University of Houston? Like what the demographics like back then?
I was working and study at the same time. They already have a lot of Asian at that time already. Most of my friends are either Vietnamese or Taiwanese, or not a lot of Chinese at that time yet. But granted, I graduated in '90, so there were just not a lot of people here, period. Yeah, most of my friends are either Taiwanese, Vietnamese, not a lot of Korean too. Demographic wise, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I know my daughter's in U of H right now. She said there's a lot more Vietnamese there now, and there's more Asian there now. Before it wasn't that many. So,
were you active in the community involvements back then, like student
U of
union?
H, I was, 1 year I was like vice president for Chinese Student Association. I remember we had a Chinese New Year events, and I was wearing chipa walking around and that kind of stuff. So I also joined an Asian American study before. U of H was so nice that they actually sent me to LA for conference. So that was a lot of fun. I think that was my changing point, I think in my life. That's when I realized, oh, the world is so big and there's so many things happening. The pleasure to meet the World Trade Center president, and he had invited me to go back to Taiwan to see what they do in World Trade Center and all sorts of stuff. And it was eye-opening for me, and a big change in my life is going to U of H.
That's great. So what did you do after you graduated?
Let me see, I worked for oil company as a HR before, didn't like that, it was a lot of paperwork. Then I ended up, what did I do? I ended up went to Seattle. I was in Seattle for 7 years. Got a job for a company called Mitsui and Company, which is one of the bigger company in Japan. I worked there for about 5 years and truly learned a lot of stuff too. In between that, I always teach piano. I mean, that was, even up to today, I'm still teaching music theory because I think there's something in my blood, like I like to tell people what to do. So that was something that I always enjoyed to do. So I was always teaching as part-time, but then I had the pleasure to work for Mitsui, and that's another eye-opening for me. Everything I wanted to do has to go from ground up. You have to learn step by step. Nothing goes fancy that you can get it right away. So it's almost like playing a piece of strange music that you got. You had to learn all the notes. You had to understand the phrasing, understand the background, and then use a lot of time to practice to make it right. And Mitsui gave me that chance. I went in from just shuffling paperwork until I think was second or third year, they're still making me flying around the country, checking out all the warehouse and make sure that I negotiate with the vendors and then also talk to the customers. So I learned a lot of stuff from them, and I really appreciate that.
Did you have someone who's like a mentor figure during that time who helped you a lot?
Yeah, there was, I remember his name is Yosh. But I forgot his last name. He was such a smart man. He always let me do whatever I wanted to do. He knows I'm crazy and I always have different idea to do different things. He never said no to me. He always said, well, give it a try and that kind of thing. So I become the star of the company very shortly, like a year after. And Yosh was very nice of sharing me too. So I ended up working for another department. And I had George Yates. I remember that's my last manager before I left. And they both are just amazing. They let me do whatever I want. Luckily that most of the stuff I recommended, we were able to kind of make things a little easier. But if they don't give me a chance to do it, I don't think I would know what I can do and what I cannot do. So that was one of the things I think was really nice, because whenever I don't know what to do, I go up and ask them. I'm always the last one to leave the company. I think maybe that's why they like me better. And every weekend, I'm always going to the golf course with them too. But then every time I go to golf course, they always want to hang with me because I always have beer and food in my cart. So it ended up become very easy to work with everyone too. So.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit about your kind of journey after that? I saw you wrote down Eden Image and Tao Day. Is it Tao Day?
Yeah. So that's kind of like how I grew up. When I was about 30, that's when I start having babies. Seattle is not a friendly city for me whenever you start having baby, because you can't really work and taking care of kids at the same time. So I ended up coming like, I have to tail in my legs and I come home and tell my mom and say, I kind of need help. Otherwise I can't make a lot of money. So I moved back home. I had 2 kids, 1 daughter, 1 son. Um, um, when I had my son is when I realized my daughter had cataract in one of her eye. That was a very, very difficult thing in my life because knowing that she may or may not see, and luckily it was only 1 eye. It took us 8 years to kind of figure out what to do with her. But it costs a lot of money. I mean, even with insurance, there's still a lot of things I need to do. So working for other company wasn't even an option anymore because every week I'm going to the doctor or hospital every other day and stuff like that. So I decided that I need to have my own company. So when that year, when I was pregnant with my son, I started Eden Image. So it's almost 20 years now. My son is 19. At that time, I kind of realized that if I can have control of my time, then maybe I can take care of family and business at the same time. So Eden Image is one of my mentors. Her name is Ming-Li Song. She gave me the recommendation. She said, you can't sit at home and have a baby and do nothing. I just can't stand you sitting there. She was the president of Junior Chamber of Commerce. And that was when I joined it when I was 19. So when I moved back to Houston, she just said, you literally just had to have a job or something. I said, well, I can't work with people because of my daughter. So she recommended me to do dental lab. Well, I know nothing about dental. I said, well, you go check it out and see what you want to do. And so she gave me the option and I told her I have no money to start. So she gave me the money to start it too. And that was 20 years ago. And she's still my mentor up till today. If it weren't for her, I won't be very active in the community as well, because when I have my first pot of gold, she said that you need to learn how to give back. And then, so even up till today, she is still my mentor, teaching me how to live life fully and also teach me how to have a complete circle in my life. So Eden Image was how I started my own business. I went from 1 person, now we have 9 people in the company. Now it's down to 3 because coronavirus. So it's up and down, but I think we'll tough it out. We'll figure out what to do, so.
Yeah, I hope you can get through this smoothly.
No, I can't do it smoothly, but we'll make it through.
How about Taoday Investments?
That was just there. Well, my lawyer told me one thing that day, and I didn't understand what she's talking about. But she said that Taiwanese has a wording now that's very popular. It's called 斜杠. I was like, what's 斜杠 mean? And she tried to explain to me. So that's pretty much what I did. Is that when I had Eden Image, and back in 2008, I kind of realized that instead of putting money in the stock market, maybe it's smart if we invest. So I went ahead and started Taoday Investments, and then I purchased real estate. So that's what I manage. So that's one of the business I do, which is have some kind of residual income. So in case one company something happened to one company, the other company can cover. So that's what I did. And then also Campbell Learning Center, which is a nonprofit organization that started about 10 years ago, and basically is to let people know how important music education is, because that's what I had learned in my life, and I like to share with everybody as well. So she said, oh, you're definitely a 斜杠 because you had so many other company running. I was like, okay, so whatever. So that's what it is.
Great. So how did that period in Seattle impact your life afterwards?
I was working 4 jobs.
Wow.
At that time when I was in Seattle, I teach piano. I worked for 2 companies. And then I was doing something else on the side. Oh, and then I was selling real estate at the time. So what I did is that I wasn't doing well in Houston. It was to the point I go everywhere, people will actually, I go to one restaurant, sit down, and somebody will pay for my meal. Oh. And that's something that kind of scares me, because I feel like what do I need to do for them later? And then when it happens almost every day, then you kind of realize, oh, don't do that anymore. Something might be wrong. So that's why I left Houston. I went to Seattle. My dad didn't understand what I wanted, why I do that, and why am I going so far. But I told him that this is a challenge I want to try myself. What I did is I told my dad I don't want any money from nobody. He was going to give me a whole bunch of money so I can enjoy myself. So no, let me try. Let me see if I'll die. If I can't do it, then I'll come home. So that was what I did. I still remember the first day I checked into a hotel. The third day I started working. And then within a week, I was already moving into an apartment. I just wanted to see what I can do by myself. And then because of that, I think I was willing to take a lot of comments, and I was willing to take a lot of people telling me what to do or teaching me, and starting from ground up. And that was very, very helpful. I think that if I weren't there by myself, if I weren't there to give myself that challenge, I don't think I can be as aggressive as I am today.
So how did your personality change before and after?
I don't think I ever changed. I think I'm just a crazy girl the whole time. I'm one of those that never shy away from challenge. If anything, I think I talk more than I normally do, because when I was younger, maybe I'm not talking as much, but I'm talking a little bit more. What else? I think, maybe I'm not as preppy. I guess that might be the thing. I mean, I think when I was in Houston, or even when I was in Taiwan, I always think that brand name is very important. I remember when I was a kid, the kids are always like fighting who has the best brand name for socks, because you're always wearing uniform, right? And then they'll say, do you have an umbrella or alligator or something that's on your socks? And kids were fighting with that. And I usually care about that a lot, or I have to tell people that, hey, my pencil case came from Japan, or my clothes came from Paris. My dad drives a French car. What does your dad drive? That kind of thing. When I went to Seattle, that all threw out of the window. That was something I feel like that it's how much I make that I should deserve. And then that makes a big difference, I think. And I was still, up to today, I still tell my husband, I say, when I was in Seattle, I was able to make a meal in for $5. And you have vegetable, you have meat, and you have wine. Because I remember at that time, Johannesburg wrestling was only $2.99. And then, chicken was 29 cents a pound for chicken leg. And I was very conscientious about how much I make, how much I can spend. That's something I think I learned, that I know that I have to build it from ground up. So that was really, really a challenging time in my life, but I was willing to take it. And that makes a big difference. Maybe that's a difference of what I had before, because it kind of just take away all the shine that I had when I was a kid. So.
Yeah. How about later? You said you came back to Houston and decided to start your own business. How did that lead up to Campbell Learning Center?
Well, so everything I think evolved to what it's supposed to be, I think, or to me, I think it's a natural evolution. I worked about 10 years into my company, and I realized I was able to make some kind of good income. So at that time, I decided I need to look for a permanent place. So instead of renting for an office space, maybe I can purchase a space. It took me about 3 years looking for spaces. And one day I walked in to a church. Actually, it used to be an office building. Somebody converted it into church. And then I walked into it. It was right after Katrina. It was after Katrina or Ike. I think it was after Ike. It was after Ike. I walk into that building and there were debris everywhere. Their pews are already stained, and then the ceiling has a hole in it, and it was in very, very bad shape. It's a big places, and then everything was a mess. There trash everywhere and all that. And then they were asking for a price I think I was able to afford. So I decided to buy it. My husband was like, "That's stupid. What are you buying a place that will take you forever to clean up?" And then the first thing I thought was like, with this space, with the sanctuary, I can probably make it into a recital hall, and then all the spaces upstairs, I can probably turn it into studios and all that. I say, maybe I should try it. And I had Houston Piano Company, Steve, to thank for. I actually had him come in to check it out and see what he think. He said, "I think it's a great space, but I don't think you can do it." And I was like, "Well, let me try it. I'm not doing it as a real job, just for a hobby. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least I can utilize the space I purchased." And thank the Lord, I was able to get the building. This CLC came about, the Kimball Learning Center came about because I just feel like, hey, I can probably do something on the side since I can't sit still anyway. So I just went ahead and said, let me try to have a music school. I didn't teach that many students at that time. We started with 50 students for almost 3-4 years before we start blowing up. So that's how CLC come about. And the whole point is I want to try nonprofit. Everybody say, you should do for-profit. I say, well, I already had for-profit company. I just want to see how nonprofit works. So that's why I use CLC as nonprofit. And I've done a lot of stuff I enjoy too, like giving out Spring Branch School a lot of lessons for free. We'll work with Bach Society, the camera, a whole bunch of nonprofit organization, invite them to come into our studio, and then they give out like educational concerts. We go to community to perform, and that's all I think what nonprofit can do that for-profit may or may not want to do. So that was something I truly enjoyed too.
So did you teach primarily music back then? I kind of read about your curriculum. Now it is both languages and music. When you started, was it primarily music?
You mean in CLC?
Yeah.
No, we went backwards. When we started with 50 kids, I was trying to be very creative. And I know that there was in need of people learning Chinese. That was before like immersion school starts and all that. But then there was a trend that every other state was all like having the wave of people learning Chinese. So I said, hey, I can do that too. I had big space. I'll do whatever I want. So I actually was teaching the non-heritage kids Chinese at that time. But kids had no interest in it. It's difficult. So a few things that I had required, and that kind of caused the school stop it too, is because it's very hard to find teacher. At that time, I told them, I said, I need all your classes in PowerPoints, and then you also have to assign some kind of songs. Every month, I actually give them cooking lessons because we actually have a live kitchen in CLC. So we were teaching kids how to make Chinese food and stuff like that to encourage kids to come in to learn Chinese. And I probably did it for about 3 years. So I did that Chinese for 3 years. And then after a couple more years, I was very tired because I was literally drawing already. So that's when I said, okay, well, let's put a stop to it so I can rest because I would start getting sick and all that. Then I quit doing it. So we haven't bring Chinese back for a while. And we also had a friend of mine that teach Spanish. So she came in to do, we're still having Spanish right now. So no more Chinese, but we still have Spanish. We used to have cooking class. We actually work with HEB sometimes too. That kind of put it on hold a couple of years ago, but every year we still invite like chef from Taiwan or other country, and they'll come in to use the facility to teach people how to cook. So we still have culture classes per se in that. The only thing that I'm very proud of, I'm hoping to bring it back soon, is music therapy for a lot of autistic kids.
Right.
We teach them how to dance. We teach them how to cook. We teach them how to respect one another, because a lot of time when they finish cooking, they want to put it in their mouth. I said, well, hold on. You see mommy, daddy next to you? Have them eat first. And then they'll look at me funny. I say, they will only eat one bite. You can have rest. And then everybody will just give them one bite, say no more. And then they'll take it and finish more. But then what I'm trying to tell them is that you do need to respect your elderly. That even when I'm teaching in CYC, which is Chinese Youth Camp, I always make the kids stand up and give me a bow before we start the classroom, because that's what we did in Taiwan. And I told them, I said, that's one thing you really need to learn is respect the elderlies. And kids make fun of me before, but now they're used to it. They like the concept, they like the idea. A teacher loved it. And whether you're an American teacher, Vietnamese teacher, I told them that's a requirement. First they get kind of weird. Afterwards it's like, hey, that's pretty cool, because kids walk on the campus, they still will bow to the teacher. And that's something I think I always enjoy doing it. But now COC now is almost 100% music now. So we don't have the culture classes much anymore.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And how does the school sustain financially? Like, do you get fundings from the state or from...
We try. I think when I started the school, someone had told me, said that it will take you 10 years before people know who you are. Mm-hmm. So don't expect people giving you money. What we do is that we actually have tuition. Students come in, they have tuitions. We were very lucky. 2 years ago, we got awarded to be the agent for ABRSM, which is a Royal School of Music in London. They actually will host their examination in our facility. So that brought us some income. Spring Branch also award us to do some of the after school programs. So that's some income as well. But that's actually reciprocal, because they gave us the money and we actually will go to different needed school to give them the free lesson too. We used to get money from Chevron, because one of the parents were doing matching fund. So we get some of that, but no, we don't have a lot of funding from everyone. But once in a while they will. Like whenever we get gala, we had a Steinway piano on our stage that was donated by one of the church member, because she said she doesn't play. Her mother passed away, and then she wanted to put it as somewhere that everybody can use. So that was very, very nice of her. So we did a fundraising, key for key, and people donate some money. So sometimes we do that too. Wow. But no, most of the I kind of have to pay for the space so the teacher has some place to teach.
I see. How about the students? How do you select the students?
Well, I have an amazing manager or director. Her name is Natalie Voot. She actually managed the school very well during this coronavirus time. That was week before spring break. We had decided to move it to online. So we were lucky that we were able to sustain some of the student. We still lost 25% of the student because there's such an uncertainty in their life. But I think we're sustaining okay. Now they actually, each student that come in, we have thorough interview. They have 15 minutes evaluation just to make sure that they know what they're doing. And throughout learning process, we actually make them go through either exams. ABRSM has a great 8-level system, so you can parents can understand that if the kids are learning enough or not. So nowadays, a lot of students coming in, we first question we ask, what level are you in? Because we're getting a lot of experienced students now. So we have level 3, level 5, level 8 kids are coming through, and their expectation is different. So it's kind of fun. Most of my teachers say they enjoy learning or teaching in COC is because we have very high quality students, and they're willing to learn and they're willing to put their time in it. So.
And how about your involvements with the communities. Like you have like the Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce, the Taiwanese American Association, Formosa Musician Association, and the HYC that you mentioned, the Houston Youth Camp.
Yeah. These are the one I had titles, but there are a whole bunch of different things I do that doesn't have any titles. Houston Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce, I think ever since I graduated from college, I was always in some kind of chamber of commerce. I think grew up in the family that's in the lumber business that kind of make me have the brain to think about business, and I always enjoy learning different things like I mentioned before. So Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce, actually, I joined it ever since I was 20. So about 30 years now. They finally gave me a title last year. So that I do. I just started doing a little bit more for them. But Taiwanese American Association, TAA, is something I think I'm very passionate about. My dad was a member before, and then when I came back to Houston, Ming Lee was the president last year, so she kind of made me to be one of the member. We do a lot of fun things together. We had done Taiwan Yes for the past 5 years. This is the first year that we had to skip due to coronavirus. If it weren't for that, we would have had it last Saturday because we already had it set, but then had to cancel the last minute. We do at TAA. I actually met a lot of politicians. Had the pleasure to meet the president probably 6-7 times from Taiwan. Had a couple of times actually close enough to having a conversation with her. So that was really fun. All this community things. I had mentioned I've been here since '82. I'm a proud Houstonian because this is my hometown. I grew up in Houston and I learned a lot of things in Houston. I love Houston, but Taiwan as home, I think it's my root, and then I'm also proud of that too. And it's always a pleasure to be in the community services because it's almost like I'm sharing my culture with my hometown friends, and that's something I always enjoy to do. So these stuff I do, but there are a lot of stuff I do that actually is outside of these organizations, but it's something that I'm constantly doing. Like I enjoy working with the Museum of Fine Art, did the Empress Treasure 3 years ago. It was a whole bunch of fun. Beatrice Chan, who's the, what is her title? I can't remember her title. Curator assistant, I think. Is that what her title is? I don't remember. But Beatrice has mentioned I'm probably the only one just like her that's able to do Mandarin and English. And so we actually host a whole bunch of people. I would think over 10,000 people, each of us, to let them enjoy the artwork that they had. I had the pleasure to introduce 10 Drum, the drum team from Taiwan, to Houston as well. They would have come again this year, but then due to coronavirus, they suspended all visas, so they weren't able to come. They were supposed to come September, so that was canceled. But I had a pleasure to work with like Asia Society Museum, whole bunch of wonderful people, and that's something that was always enjoying doing it because I think people are more acceptable about all sorts of stuff. We did the museum, the Winter Festival this year. I was the MC for them, and that was a lot of fun too. Watching people enjoying my culture, watching people making fun of our toys and stuff like that, or the way we dress. I think it's okay. It's fun. It's something that they have to make fun of before they know how to appreciate. So it's a lot of fun thing to work together with everyone. And that's my passion. I want to share my culture with my hometown people. And then it's always fun to do all that. I mean, CYC, Houston Chinese Youth Campus, the same thing too, because these kids are ABC. Well, now we have all sorts of different people join us now. 285 kids each time. Mm-hmm. I had taught for 3 years, teach them how to make sushi, bento box, teach them how to make yue bing, which is mooncake, or like noodles and all that. They are fascinated. We give them stories about it. I also go to BCC to teach. I even teach them how to make tofu from scratch. And they think it's a lot of fun. They don't like to eat it, but they had a lot of fun doing it. And then that's something that's all, I think, like I mentioned, I'm just one of the person like to tell people what to do. So having this kind of thing to share with people is always a lot of fun.
Yeah. So do these associations have any collaborations with CLC at some point?
Not much. I think I still a traditional girl that I'm afraid to ask my fellow friends to ask for donation. So a lot of time I don't do a lot of that, but sometimes we do collaboration is that they will come and actually borrow my spaces to do cooking class. So we did a few times, like almost guarantee every year somebody is here borrowing spaces. I had the pleasure to meet a lot of famous chefs from Taiwan, TV personnel that comes through. So it's fun. That's probably what we do a lot. CYC actually use my space main thing for all the conference trainings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I want to get some tea. Hold on. Okay, talk too much.
If you don't mind sharing, how is your budget, the annual budget for the CLC? Like, how do you sustain the fundings and the expenditures?
We run about 100 to 200,000 per year.
Mm-hmm.
That's about, it's not a lot, but that's about how much we run it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And moving on, can you share with us your relationship with the Chinatown, like the area, or the restaurants, and all the happening of a lot of the communities going on there?
Chinatown is a fun place. I think there is a magazine I absolutely enjoy reading, and I never subscribe to it, but I buy a lot of them. It's the Houstonians. I remember one time they literally talk about Chinatown. It was something that I didn't realize that it's true. What they talk about is that any restaurant with double name actually will, what did they say? Double name, they actually open until past midnight. And then you sit down and think about it and say, yeah, Ten Ten, Sing Sing, Fu Fu. They all like work for a long time, and all are restaurants I grew up with. I remember I started eating Ten Ten ever since I was in high school, college, I think. Sing Sing, I actually was friends with the owner's son. We went to college together. So Chinatown has been part of my life because I used to live in A-Leaf, so it's not far from it. We do a lot of shopping there. Nowadays, before this happened, I pretty much go there almost every day, either to go eat or buy grocery or meet up with friends. Culture Center is one of the places I do a lot of a project called Splendid of Taiwan. Splendid of Taiwan, I had done it for 10 years. Do exactly the same thing, telling people how wonderful my culture is, telling them we have a lot of activity, like whether it's origami or Chinese painting, and sorts of different type of stuff, flower arrangement. I even teach people how to play erhu. That is something I'm very proud, because I can teach anyone how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in less than 5 minutes. And they always fascinated about that. So you can probably say that I am a Chinatown girl, grew up there, enjoyed it there. Even going to the temple and sharing with people about what temple is, or what do we do, what's the difference in culture, religions, and stuff like that. My stepdaughter, I remember when she was in middle school, she was failing algebra terribly. She was so bad that she didn't know what to do. So one day I literally took her to temple. Which one did I take her? The one on Turtlewood. And I explained to her, I say, all these deities that are almost like in the United States, they all have their own job. They either take care of culture or they take care of wisdom. They take care of having baby or dating. And I was explaining to her and all that. So we went to the Wenchang Gong and I show it to her and said, if you pray to this one, you'll probably have better grades. And so she was working very hard. She prayed it for about 10 minutes. I don't know what she was talking about. She literally just kind of bowed down and they had the incense in their hand. Strangely enough, the next week that she actually got pretty high grades. Believe it or not, she's graduating this coming June from UCLA with a math degree. So it's kind of like, she said, no, it does work. So all my kids actually believe in that nowadays. My daughter will literally make me go to the temple before Chinese New Year so we can get a lucky charm for the rest of the year. They all think that works. I have a way of telling lies without people knowing it, and apparently most people believe it for a long time. So that's kind of funny that what we do here. So.
Yeah. So when you say you teach Erhu as well, is that part of the curriculum at CLC?
Split Taiwan? No. That's CLC. I'm teaching one of my friends because she made me, but I'm not charging her anything because she brought one home from Taiwan, so she made me teach her. So I do that, but no, it's split up of Taiwan because we have over 40 projects, and the teacher get to pick what they want to do. So one of the schools that we go a lot, we ran out of ideas. So I say, okay, well, just bring an instrument and show them. It was really fun. And then I even teach this high schooler how to play, and he enjoyed it too. So it's a lot of fun things that you can do. And then because in Splendid Taiwan, we always make the project in about an hour, and you have to teach a little history. And you have to teach them something quiet like origami or instrument, and they'll teach them kung fu or something that's like, exciting. So that's why we have all sorts of different projects to teach people, and music was one of them. So teaching Erhu, I can probably teach you in 5 minutes too, or maybe less, or maybe you already know how to play.
Yeah, it's up to some time.
Well, Andy's very good at it, so.
So what kind of vision do you have with the CLC in, say, 5 to 10 years?
Maybe less than 5 years. My vision is that I will be out of CLC. Since it is nonprofit, I would like to have some teachers to take over this project and to let it continue. I think that I don't do much with it except managing the finance part. So if I can find a board member that can help them managing, because I have noticed most of the musicians doesn't know how to, they're not good with numbers and they're not good with money. So if someone can manage it for them, I think I like to pass it down and let them have more fun with it. I think CLC has been a fun playground for a lot of musicians. They enjoy working there, and I'd like to have that continue. So that's something I would like to give it to them, and then have them to kind of continue enjoying it and have it for whenever they want. So
how about the curriculum? I remember you said you kind of eliminated the culture and languages class and focus only on music. Are you planning to do that?
Yeah, we're pretty much doing the same way. Culture classes have been taken over quite a bit by a lot of culture centers. Chinese school, as you have seen, a lot of school district actually is offering Chinese classes now. I actually go to a lot of them, like the MIMS. I go to a lot of school to do a lot of culture classes myself. So it's outside of CLC, but with Split Out of Taiwan with the Culture Center of TACO, we actually go and do a lot of culture things. So I don't think I need to repeat or do something for profit and then do for nonprofit. Because when I go out to teach all these cultures, it's all free. And that's something I enjoy to do because when it's free, nobody will say that you're doing a bad job. So I like to keep doing that. So that part, I think it's okay. CLC had become, like I mentioned, it's the musicians' playground. And they're doing such a wonderful job making the music education flourish already. I think where we have seen a lot of kids that actually know how to discipline themselves better. Unfortunately, because of my experience, if the kids are playing very well, winning a lot of competition, I like to pull the parents on the side. And I say, by the way, I need to tell you, they may not make a lot of money if they play very well. So you need to make sure they do well and other stuff as well. So I had convinced one of the child, he just graduated last year, but he was winning a lot of awards. And I had to pull the mom aside and tell her. And she actually understood and accepted. So I think this child eventually is going to medical school, so which is good. Because I always tell them, when you do well, that means that they're disciplined enough. If they can play that much music, and while they're going to school, make sure their grades are still there. They're very important.
Hello?
I always think it's important. Hello?
Oh, actually,
You okay?
Yep.
You back?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
The internet wasn't, the best, probably. But go on. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, something is unstable. It's I don't know. Okay. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Cool. And do you plan to work with any other schools in the future?
For what? I'm sorry.
Do you plan to collaborate with other schools and to build the curriculum, like having them to come over for classes, or their students to come over for classes and vice versa?
We'll always love to do that. Actually, CLC's next big project, what we're doing is actually try to encourage adult students to learn music. I think somehow we kind of realize that when you retire at 65 or most people might be even younger. And as an empty nester, I kind of tell Natalie, I say, when you don't have to cook every day and you have no kids to scream at, you have a lot of time in your life. And so our goal is to let them understand that you can play something or you can learn something. Learning sports might be a good idea, but then your hand-eye coordination might get kind of limited and all that. So we are trying to let everybody understand that it might be good if you pick up an instrument, something you wish you learned when you were a kid, or something to challenge yourself. I myself plays piano all my life, but 2 years ago I decided to pick up harp. It's difficult. Even though it's just few strings, but it's not easy to play, but I can stick to it because I want to do better. And then I think with that experience, I think it's good to share with everyone and say that, you'll probably have another 35 years to live. Why don't you just enjoy something yourself? Because not everyone knows how to sing well. So.
Wow. Great. And just to pick on your opinion, like what is your view on the Asian American who are regarded in the education system? So like there's a lot of hoops that the Asian American kids have to jump through in order to be on the same level to in the kind of entrance exams for colleges. Like, what is your opinion on that?
You're saying that a lot of kids are having issues because they have to jump a lot of hoops to go into a higher education. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the college entrance system.
I personally had no idea about that. I know that there's a lot of people talking about AA system and then the discrimination and so forth. I'm not one of those person. And actually, I personally spoke to Andrew Yang last year.
Oh.
we had that conversation because one of the lady came up and talked about this and one opinion on Andrew Yang. And me and Andrew actually had the same idea. I think that it doesn't matter what school you go to. It's what you have learned as basic is more important. I mean, I think he graduated from Columbia or somewhere like that. He said that he didn't get into Harvard. He turned out okay. I myself, not a studious person. I didn't go to Rice. I went to U of H. I think I came out okay. I enjoy my life. And then I think that a lot of time is what you have labeled yourself that will cause you a lot more headache. And that's what Andrew and I believe. And we try to convince the mom. Of course, she is very mad at our answer because Andrew was saying this. And I say, Andrew, I totally agree with you. And I try to give her a whole bunch of examples. She said, but no, my son is so good. Why can't you get into Harvard? We always believe that, I believe, why do you have to set yourself in a square? And why do you have to always stay in that square? So I think that it's depending what will make yourself happy. And you have to see that there's so many things in life to make yourself happy. I might have passion for music, but I didn't make money in music. I was able to work hard and have my own career before I come back to music. So going AA system, to me, I just think that it might be a ceiling that the parents are putting on, not necessarily the child. And that was what me and Andrew was talking about. I was like, I feel sorry for these kids. And of course, I never put my kids in that ceiling. They're not the hottest kids. None of them are Harvard grading kids, but I think they are happy. I think they are able to do whatever they want. My kids gone through a lot of things that other kids might not be able to do, and I'm very proud of them. And then, so that's something I think that we need to think. Ceiling wise is depending what you put it in, not other people say so. So, but that's my personal opinion. I think that I'm the weird one. So.
How did you meet Andrew Yang? Just curious.
He was looking for money. So he had asked TAA to host a meeting for him. So we had gathered about 400 or 500 people and did a fundraising for him. Mm-hmm. So we had a chance to chat, and then a lot of stuff he said, I do agree. And you can see that Trump is trying to do what he does, but he's not getting it right because there's a lot of things that you have to do before you give them $1,000, but yeah, he's doing the wrong way. But that's just my personal opinion. But Andrew Yang's thing that's very important that he had mentioned is to educate yourself. Mm-hmm. Education is important not just for personal things, but it's for everything. Take my business per se. This is my 20th year for my dental lab. We went from manual to automation. Mm-hmm. We went from analog to digital. It will never come easy as a person that's managing it, because you're literally changing your company into a different way of doing it. When you go into digital, you need to have your customer accepting it. But at the same time in the company, you had to give them a lot of education in order for them to change into it. Having that done, we have never reduced our staff, but we actually educate all the staff. And that was what Andrew Yang was talking about. He said most companies are not doing it, but it's so important. If you treat your staff as your family, you had to do that together. And that was something I believed that in him. I know that he had no chance, but I think if somehow, somewhere people understand what he's saying, the world might be a little better. I think that everybody can go back to our tradition is that education is still important. Education doesn't mean you have to go to Harvard, but education means how to make yourself better, how to make life better, how do you make your company better, how do you make CLC better, how do you make EDA Image better. All this together is the drive for your life. So you can do better. It has so many things to learn. So make your life a little busy too, which is good. So,
Yeah.
man, I sound like an old person, don't I? I'm sorry.
Very wise one.
No.
Yeah, so currently we're in the most historical time that will definitely be talked about for many, many years, I would say.
Yes.
So we have a special COVID-19 episode that will ask a series of questions regarding the changes this pandemic has done to our lives. You mentioned a couple of times already that regarding CLC, your school has lost staff and students, and like a number of board meetings canceled. Can you kind of comment on how your life has changed due to this pandemic?
Oh, so much has changed. I mean, I have to cook every day and I have to wash so many clothes and I can't go out to eat. I'm craving for like a good plate of sushi, so I don't have to wash dishes. I mean, a lot of switch gear of because the business is not as busy, then you kind of focus on family a little bit more. I mean, there's more fight with my husband as well, but then we somehow able to manage to solve it by the end of the day. Learning how to cope different things. I think the main thing a lot of friends says I haven't been talking much. And then I explained to them, I said, because I don't know what to say. I think it's almost like that. What's the four emotion you go through when like you lost something? It's kind of like that concept. At first I was in shock and then I was angry and then I was sad. Now I have the drive and I understand how to deal with it. My girlfriend called me yesterday. She said, I haven't gone out for a month. I'm so afraid to go out because I'm going to get coronavirus. And how can you work every day? Like, when all these things are happening. So I kind of explained, I say, I come to a conclusion what we need to do. At first we were upset when this happened, but then this might be just something we explore to understand what to do. Make sure that you wash your hands a lot. Make sure that you protect yourself well. It doesn't mean that when you go out, you're going to get coronavirus. It doesn't work that way. Don't scare yourself. You need to have the brave to face it and know what to do. I mean, there's a lot of positive news. Most people that die actually has pre-existing conditions. A lot of them are men. So I think I'm not in any of those things. And so I think if I actually caught it, I might be okay. But even if I caught it and nothing is okay, that's life. And that's something that we just have to deal with it. It's something that I think that we can take advantage of this time to do more things that we enjoy. I'm actually, I have a lot of webinar that I had to catch up to learn, update myself to do better. I had to sit down in my office, rewrite my numbers and to kind of figure out what will be the next step. And also planning if we actually restart our business, what do we need to do to make it cleaner? All that stuff. I've still got things to do. Have more time to, like I mentioned, cooking and cleaning and all that as well. I'm packing up a lot of old clothes so I can donate it to people. I might not be able to have money to donate right now because it's such a crisis, but then I can figure out, maybe I can make something for people. So I'm trying to figure out if I can get some old clothes and make masks and that kind of stuff, or try to learn how to make masks, the face shield with the 3D printers and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of fun projects, a lot of fun things we can do together. So I'm not worried now, not as worried as probably back in end of March. I think that I'm looking forward to see what the whole world would do. I was telling my secretary today, I said, I wish that we can have a person in the world to get up together and say, okay, enough guessing. Let's figure out what we need to do. Let's have a plan. Let's get together and have a plan. I think that might be the best thing to do because I think everybody is guessing right now and it's just hard to kind of follow. So.
How has the management of the school, like, are you conducting classes online? And
Yes. Yeah, all classes are online. we somehow, because our software cannot do Zoom, so we ended up doing Skype because they had a connection with Skype. So when the Zoom crazy thing happened with Zoom, we didn't have any effect.
Oh.
So it was okay. I think the hardest part is a lot of our teachers are performers, and they weren't able to get a lot of gigs. So they're having their tough time. We are trying to encourage them to have like virtual concert so people can enjoy and stuff like that. That's about all we can do right now. And once in a while, I think Natalie did a great thing is that if you want to, she actually will Uber Eats some food for you once a week. So give them something to look forward to, and that's very nice.
So how other ways have you engaged in any responses to the outbreak?
We're trying to print the face shield
Mm-hmm.
in cases business started again. I think that all my dentist customer might need something to protect themselves. So we're learning how to do that. Not much. I don't know how to help them because I think if I go outside, people are gonna be afraid. Donating money, I'm so afraid that it doesn't make sense. So I did donate some money to buy some masks, and I don't know what they did with the money, but that's about it. So I kind of decided to take it upon myself. I was like, I'm gonna make some, and I'm gonna do something. So eventually, business started. I have tried to order some the facial shield from China, but haven't had any luck yet. That's about it. Oh, and then I go Chinatown to buy food every other day. Give them like 25% tips whenever I can. So that's about all I can do.
Yeah, it's important for them.
Yeah.
And what are your like kind of most memorable moments, and what, if anything good came out of the pandemic, what inspired you most?
I don't know. That I have to think about it. Because right now, I have stopped watching TV because there's nothing could come out of it. You know what? There's something I like to say is I do appreciate city mayor, Mayor Turner. I think that he's very calm. He's very careful. I think that after Harvey, he has expressed that he's able to manage this thing a little better than whoever's up there. I think you can see the difference of how people can manage things better. And I think he did, among all those people, either Abbott, Trump, and all the other people, I think he is more careful, take more precautious things. And I think that I'm very proud of. And I am proud to be a Houstonian, proud to have a leader like him. Does such a great job. He's working just hours and hours to make sure everything's okay. And I think that whatever he said, I will actually truly follow. And then I believe that there is a better tomorrow. I mean, I think most people don't know what to do. There's no more concert anymore. There's no more opera. There's no good Chinese. I mean, even like good restaurant. Let's say that if I want to have a good French foie gras, I can't even get that because by the time I take it home, it doesn't taste good anymore. You know, that kind of thing. And even in such hard time like that, I think that we can tough it out. All the one that's not worth mention maybe won't be around, but then those people that do well, they'll come back. They'll find a way to come back. And I think that you just have to have a positive thinking. Don't be a victim. Be more positive. And knowing that once we survive all this, we'll be much stronger. We all know how to have social distance, and we may not have hug anymore, but then I think that we're still gonna love each other the same, whether we touch each other or not. So that's something that everybody needs to remember. So
So how does the pandemic change your perspectives of the future?
Man, you ask tough questions. I am so afraid that fine art might be something that disappeared. I'm very afraid of that because as we're in CLC, as we kind of help out with all sorts of different organizations, you're gonna know that people at the end of the day, they wanted to take care of themselves first. You know, Chinese says that things say 民以食为天. You gotta eat first before you can donate things to people. So I'm afraid that fine art might be put on hold, whether it's movie industries, whether it's gallery presentation and all that. I am afraid of that. I am afraid that people are gonna forget. We might have a pause in creativity because people that create, you may or may not ever see again. Gathering might be limited, and that also might cause an issue. Entertainment business might be an issue, something I'm kind of worried. But I think that pause might be limited. It's just something I'm very afraid of. I always enjoy people's creativity, and I'm afraid that I might not get to see that for a while. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see that what people can do. I mean, right now it's just, everything is crazy, right? I mean, oil price is negative. How can you do better because nobody's driving? That kind of thing. I have no idea what this world will become to, but I'm sure that there is a way to figure out what to do. It's just the resolution's not here yet, but I'm sure someone will find out. I'm taking my time studying more. I'm taking my time understanding more. Doesn't mean that it will be better, but then I know I can better myself. I'm just really worried about fine arts right now.
How about CLC? What do you think will, is your classes gonna shrink? Like, are you gonna?
We already shrink about 25%. All the after school is on hold. So most of my after school teacher are not doing anything. So we're pulling them in to do admins. But I'm foreseeing there's going to be 50% down anyways. We'll just tough it out. I mean, they don't need to worry about a lot of stuff. The building is mine, so I can handle it myself. And we'll just make sure the teacher will pay so they can live. That's about it. But right now, all we care about is that we'll make sure everybody's healthy first before we can do anything else. That's it.
Yeah. How about the nonprofit side?
Well, CLC is nonprofit, so
I mean, the industry in a whole.
Well, see, that had to go with fine arts, right? Because a lot of fine arts are all nonprofit because we can't make a dime. Nonprofit ones will take a very big hit because there's no extra money anywhere.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who have unemployment. That's little money, but you're talking about corporation has no income. That gonna make a big effect, and then it's gonna recycle back. I mean, you got to understand when this is all opening up, they still may not have a job because their company might go belly up. So that's why I'm so afraid that, Jones Hall might not ever be there. I mean, Symphony might put a hole on it. Houston Opera might put a hole on it, Your major sponsor are Exxon, Shell, what have you, Chevron. They said, well, I don't have money for you anymore. And then what they're going to do? I mean, nonprofit is going to take a big toll for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's the end of all the COVID-19 questions. And just the last few to conclude, what does your Taiwanese heritage mean to you?
Passion, love, and fun. I think it's what I have for my Taiwanese culture and heritage. I think we are people that very passionate about what we have, and we have the love to share to everyone. And then it's always fun to gather together. And as a Taiwanese, I am very proud to be one, and I'm very proud I'm able to share my culture to everyone else that willing to listen to me.
And how would you like to be remembered?
Crazy Asian girl.
Oh, no, crazy rich Asian.
Well, not rich, but crazy Asian girl. Let's put it that way.
And what would you like to give as advice to younger generations who are pursuing, say, education and entrepreneurship like you did?
Always, I think what I always believe in, learning anything is like learning a piece of music. You need to learn the basic. You need to work hard, and you'll get there. And there are so many options in your life. As a music major turned into minor, as a business person turned into in dental, it's very, very crazy, like I mentioned. But if you study hard, you work hard, and you go step by step, never try to skip or run, you'll make where you're gonna be, because you live a long time. You have long time to learn it. But if you do it too fast, it's easier to fall. And also, I think most important thing is don't follow everybody else, because everybody want to do the same thing, then you don't have your own niche. So
That's wonderful advice.
well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's all my questions. And is there anything else we would like to share?
No, but thank you for giving me a chance to do this. I hope that you enjoy. I thoroughly enjoy it. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your valuable time. And,
No problem.
Yeah, okay.
Will you be safe?
Yeah, you too. And hope we get out of the situation, or just looking forward to the future and have faith.
Yes, that's what we need to have. So thank you very much.